Hey guys, this is Phoenix. Today I'm actually going to be starting a series on Minecraft 1.7 programming. In the first episode, we're actually going to set up our IDE. My choice of use is Intellij. I've tried to set it up for Eclipse, and honestly, I can't stand Eclipse. So I kind of failed miserably at that. So today what we're going to do is we're going to set up our environment in Intellij IDEA. So the first thing we need to do is we need to download Forge, which can be gotten, on the internet. Just go to Google and type in Forge. It'll be one of the first options. Choose 1.7.10, and then it's show more downloads 10.13.4.16.14. Grab the source for this, not the installers, not the change, not universal. The source. You do need the source code. So first we need that, and we also need IntelliJ. So it's INTELLIJ. If you Google that, it'll come up with the actual downloads for everything. Well, kind of. Just go back one and there we go. So you only ever want to deal with the community edition. You can grab, because the ultimate you actually have to pay for. Go for it if you want to spend the money for it, but community is just as powerful. The community edition, this is the newest one. I don't necessarily like this one because they introduced test environments. I will probably end up using this one since I have a feeling most of you are going to be. But if you guys want to use the one that I prefer, if you go to previous versions and you scroll down to 14.1 right here, this is a version before the test environments became a thing. So instead of having testing, here's your actual place, debug, testing. It's like all this extra crap just thrown in there. This doesn't include that. So that would be 14.1.7 IntelliJ Community Edition. Make sure to grab the Community Edition. Otherwise, you're going to be paying stuff. I actually have both of those downloaded, and I'm going to install both of those. I will start with the newest version, which is the 16.4? 16.3.4. Okay. So I've already downloaded those. Those are the only two things that we need is IntelliJ and Forge. Alright, so if I go to my downloads folder, pretend this one doesn't exist because that's the old one. These two here, this is IntelliJ 2016 3.4. This is the one we're going to be installing today. And then there's Forge. So IntelliJ is going to take a minute to actually install, so we're going to go ahead and launch it. Let it get its install on. Just hit next. You don't have to change the path where this is. I am choosing to, specifically because I am not a fan of putting things on my C drive because it's solid state. I don't need things reading and writing to it constantly. So I changed that to my D drive. IntelliJ IDEA, Community Edition. Okay. I'm just going to put a backslash here because I'm going to be installing the other one in the same manner, and I like to just version number them. Alright, so that's that. Next, make sure that you associate Java and Groovy files with it. It doesn't really matter about the .kt. We're not going to be dealing with those too much. I am going to go with the 64-bit launcher on my desktop. That's just my preference. You can use 32-bit if you want, but I run a 64-bit operating system, so I'm going to use the 64-bit. Go ahead and hit install. Gonna come up with funky, there we go. I'm gonna change the name of this link to something in a little bit here. But in the meantime, let's go ahead. I'm gonna open up my D drive. You can again put this anywhere you want. I would not recommend putting it in your C drive or in your program directory because that would be completely null and void since you can't actually have applications modify things there unless it's running in administrative mode. So I'm going to actually open the D drive here, and I'm going to create a new folder called programming. And then underneath the programming, I'm going to create a new folder called programming. I'm spelling programming completely wrong on 2 occasions now. Forgetting an M. Okay, programming source. Underneath the programming source, we're going to create a folder called Java. Well, this is me personally. I'm going to create a folder called Java. Underneath of Java, I'm making a new folder called, actually, this is for my other stuff. I need to wow, fail, new folder. Minecraft modding, and here I'm going to create a new folder called 1.7.10. Underneath of 1.7.10, I'm going to create a new folder, cancel, new folder called -default dash. The reason for the dashes is to keep this on the top of the entire list so that I can quickly make a new mod if I need to. This is actually done. I'm going to go ahead and run that. Underneath of, I don't want to do anything. Okay. Accept. Dark. Nothing needed there. You can install Scala, but it's not needed whatsoever. I'll install it real quick. That way I can come over here and finish this off. Okay, under default, we want to go and take the contents of Forge, but only specific things. We want to grab Gradle. We want to grab the build.gradle, Gradlew, Gradlew, and Gradlew.bat. Copy these straight into here. This is all we're going to need. Okay. And then we're going to go start using. Now we want to create a new project here. We're not actually making a new project. We're just making sure that our version of Java is linked in. The reason mine is here is because I have a Java home environment variable. If you guys don't know how to do that, right click in any file explorer, right click on this PC, go to Properties, Advanced System Settings, and then Environment Variables. Underneath here, create a new, hit New, type in all caps JAVA_home, and then in the next on the next line, you're going to actually find the path that you have Java. Most people are going to be C program files Java. So imagine that that's there. Mine's actually here. So this would be C program files Java, and then you would have JDK and JRE. You're going to open up the JDK and then copy that and paste it directly in here. That way you have the directory to your JDK. After you've done that, any program that uses JDK will immediately pick up on that location. Same with JREs. So that's how you end up setting that up. But if you didn't have that set up, you would end up not seeing anything here whatsoever. It would actually say null or something. So you go to Projects SDK, click on New, JDK, and then you would select Java, JDK, hit OK. It would create a folder that looks like 1.8 Java version. So now I actually do have a physical version of Java in here. I like to do this because that gives me a little bit more control. If you hit Next and then Cancel, it actually saves that information into your system. We're not going to do anything with IntelliJ yet, so I'm just going to throw that off onto my other screen. Alright, we don't need this open, we don't need that open. Anyway, so Gradle. Underneath of Gradle, there is literally one thing that we need to change. And I'm actually going to do that, pull up the cheat sheet over here because I can never remember exactly what it is. And we're going to have that pop up here. Okay. Alright. So yeah, this is underneath the build.gradle. We're actually going to be Okay, so this is the build.gradle for what we have here right now. There are a few things that we're able to change in here. I would not mess with anything underneath the build script. Don't mess with anything here. This is okay to mess with, to a degree. You don't want to keep these blank, but yeah. And then Minecraft, this is if you were to want to update your version of Minecraft, or Forge rather, you would increment or de-increment this and then build the source again. It'll actually build the updated version. Processing resources. Now there's one thing that we're missing here, and that is the IntelliJ IDEA has changed quite a bit. So we actually need to include another line of code in here. Well, lines, it's code. We need to include IDEA, open brackets, module module, and then we needed to inherit the output directory. So lowercase inherit, capital O U T P U T D capital DIRS equals true. If you do not do this, no resources will load. You can put a resource into the resources directory inside of your program, but when the program runs for testing or after a build, you will not see anything. This has to be there. So we can go ahead and save that. And I will leave this in the comment as well, just so you guys know. I'm going to condense it so that you guys can more easily see exactly what it is. It'll run condensed, so it doesn't really matter. So I'll copy that, and I'll put it in a sticky note. That way I remember to put it in there. Bam. Okay, that is going on to that. Okay. So after we've saved this, you can do this in any text editor. I just prefer Notepad++. But anyway, so now that that's done, we can actually start working with this. We don't actually need this open anymore. So let's go ahead and launch IntelliJ. Actually, we don't have to. It's already open. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to import a project. And we're going to go to our D drive, or wherever you put the file. So programming source, Minecraft modding 1.7.10. Select the default folder, basically. Hit OK. Import project. Okay. What? Create project. No, I don't want to. I want to import a project. Double click the build.gradle. My bad. Okay. So now that we've went and done all that, we can use the default Gradle wrapper. I am perfectly happy using that. You can also use a local distribution if you actually have a downloaded version, but that you prefer. We do want to use the 1.8. Yeah, use Java Home, which is 1.8, or 1.8. This is what I prefer doing. We can also then make sure that the project format is set to IDEA. Otherwise, we can do IPR, but I like to have it in the directory base. Okay, so after this is done, this comes up, just hit OK. It's going to start building. We can go ahead and hit close. You're going to see a bunch of stuff pop up. Allow access. External libraries, there are none. Hey, look, we have literally nothing going on. Packages. Literally nothing is going on whatsoever. Underneath the default, we want to right click and create a new directory called src. Underneath of src, we want to create a new directory called main, main. Underneath of main, we want to create a new directory called Java. Underneath the main directory again, we want to create a new folder called our resources. right click Java, and then we want to mark directory as source. And then underneath of the resources, we want to select this as the resource root. Underneath of the build, okay. So if we switch over to packages now, we actually have a package in there called default. That's just one way to get that set up. Underneath, what we want to do now, actually real quick, is go back over to a folder that's not showing up. Oh no, it's over here. Our downloads folder. Open up Forge, source, main, resources, and then same with inside of your default dash folder. Open up source, main, resources, and copy the MC mod info over. Minecraft. 1.7. Oh, wrong one. My bad. D. Underneath of programming, programming source, Minecraft modding 1.7.10, default, source, main, resources. Now this is where we copy this to. And when we go back in here, we're actually going to have MC mod info underneath of that. We can actually see that by going over here and waiting for it to actually catch up. There we, no, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. API, test, main. Our stuff is under main. And everywhere else. This is not my idea of a fun time. I don't care about the libraries. I don't care about... Yeah. So API and tests are completely useless, and I don't enjoy it. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna hit the delete button right on the API, and the delete button right on test. Go away. So now we actually have default dash underscore main. I really cannot stand that. Okay. Okay, I guess that'll work-ish. I really can't stand that. Project. Module. So annoying. Anyway. So what we need to do is there's a little windowy button down here. We want to click on that to pop out these side projects. So we have structure, projects, Gradle, SBT, Maven projects, and Ant build. Underneath of Gradle, we actually have a default. Source sets is all kinds of messed up. Like literally everywhere messed up. So underneath of tasks, we want to go to build. I'm sorry, not build. Forge Gradle, set up Decomp Workspace. Double click that, and it's going to start building out Forge. This will take a little while, by the way. So, unless you want to watch it, go make yourself a sandwich. Anyway, while this is doing that one, I'm going to go install my other thing. So Intellij IDE 14.1.7, I'm going to go ahead and let that one install. Next, no, I don't want to install any of them. Backslash, delete that. Get rid of this part. All the way back here, change to D. Next. There we go. sure this is actually installing to where I wanted it. So JetBrains, Intellij, yes. 14 and 2016. Awesome. Yeah, we can run it. I do not want to use the previous version. I want to allow access for Java, first of all. Next feature, install. Okay. Start using, make sure it's loading. Create new project. Yeah, shut up. Yeah, this is what you normally get when you don't have a Java home set. So new JDK, the Java, JDK, okay. Next, cancel, import project. And we don't actually want to do that right now. This is probably the version I'm going to be using because I cannot stand this. Anyway. Makes no difference. Default's still default. It's just now you have API, main, and test, and everything goes under main. And it's just like, hey, let me give you 1,000 workspaces that you're never going to use. I like the icon set, but beyond that, it's just like, god damn it. Just waiting for the executors to finish and stuff to finish getting established, set up. After it's finished doing this, it does have to rebuild the jar file or the code. So yeah, this is probably the one part that takes the longest. So I'll just sit here and play with money in the meantime. Come on, just finish already. And yeah, it really does take this long all the time for this SIP. It's almost done though. There it is. Build successful. Yay! Okay. So that's been refreshed. Now just hit the refresh button up here on the top next to the Gradle project. And wait for that to refresh as it rebuilds the Gradle project. Hey, look, API and tester back. Great. I don't understand why those come in. I would like to use this version if I could get that to stop popping up. Can I like subtract a module out? Yes. Remove test? Yes. What is this? Exclude folder? I'm pretty sure that those other modules just came back. Nope, there we go. That's what I wanted. Default. There we go. I'm happy with that. Okay. So there's one more thing that we need to do, because as of right now we can't even use Minecraft to test anything. We're going to want to go to Other, and then there's Gen IntelliJ runs right here. Anyway, if anybody wants to know how I did that, I will show you. Yes, reload the project. Alright, so File, Project Structures underneath of Modules. If you just remove all of the modules, it'll end up wiping out those sub things there. And then when you go and reassign it, it'll assign it as this is being the main default. And if I go new Java class, it actually will ask me Java resources. So confused by that though. Anyway. So now I guess the only thing left to do is go to Minecraft client, find out why it's throwing errors, which is as simple as going edit configurations. It's because Eclipse is not happy there. Gradle start. Cannot resolve symbol Gradle start. Excuse me? Oh my god, it's a total bust. I guess I can... just run the setup decomp workspace again. It's gonna skip like everything this time because it's already got everything now. Oh, it put everything back like this. Great. Okay then. Anyway, Minecraft client. edit configuration, underneath the default main, this is where the Gradle start is. Apply. Okay, it's gonna, you can test it by doing this. I seriously cannot stand having the API and test things there. Each project has an API and test. So annoying. But that is why I like to do it in the older version. Same thing, it's just none of that stuff. So Forge is, Minecraft is working. Let me actually go to options, music and sound, get rid of this, music, nope. Weather is off, done. I just have a very set way that I like to play. It's not that my computer's crap whatsoever. It's just I like that better, those settings. Anyway, so that's working. Now let me show you why I like the other one a little bit better. Exit. This is that one. This is my other version. Import project. Programming. Minecraft modding. Default, we'll just go and grab the build.gradle. Okay. It's actually going to import all the data now, and I'm probably going to get rid of that entirely. It's the same thing, it's just I was showing you guys how to install on the new one. You really don't have to do anything here because everything's already been installed. But basically it's the same principle as the other one. Open up the little square thing down here, go to Gradle, go down to underneath the default, it's going to be listed as others right now, but go down to, wait for this to index things. As soon as that's finished indexing, it'll look a lot better. So it looks identical here. Source main, Java resources. I mean, instead of solids, they're kind of squared, or like they have a square in the middle of it. But I'm just waiting for this process to finish running. Really don't have to, but just in this list, find setup decomp workspace. And this is where I'm going to be working. This is what I'm familiar with. This is what I prefer. Don't like the way that they changed it. So if we run that, it's going to open up that tumble list. It's going to run through its stuff again. Skipping everything. I got it. I don't need you to. Yes, allow access. I'll index those later. Build successful, which means that I get to go and refresh. Which puts these into actual groups. Underneath of here we got nothing, so I go to other, get IntelliJ runs, or gen IntelliJ runs. Yes, I want to reload. What I just did after loading this version up is all the setup, the same setup that you have to do prior to this. Now if I go to packages, now it's literally just default and it's got this stuff. Okay, so anyway, one last thing that we're going to do before we go and wrap this one up is we're going to right click on Java underneath the project view, and we're going to create a package and call it, okay, so if you have a website, it's your website backwards. If you have an email account, it's your email account backwards. So for instance, I have my website, so mine would be com.ryodev because I have ryodev.com. And so basically it would be, so ryodev.com, I haven't even set it up yet. I still need to do that. But if I do, so basically it would be the same thing in reverse. It would be com.ryodev. And that's what I'm going to be using here. So basically you're going to do com, and it's same with your email account. So like if you use Gmail, be com.gmail.yourusername.mod, the mod name. So I'm going to do com, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to right click here, create a new package inside of the com folder, and I'm going to call that one ryodev. And then the next package is going to be the mod ID. So that would be, for this, tutorial mod. Underneath the tutorial mod, we're going to create a new Java class, and we're going to name it the same as our mod ID, but in all caps, or with capitals separating the words. So like that. I don't need this. We can actually get rid of this entirely by going edit template, go away. Okay. Now there's one more thing that we should probably do, that I'm going to show you how to do rather. Anytime that you're creating a mod, you should probably protect your stuff. So lesser GNU licenses are great for that. All you have to do is go to the to the website for it, which is gnu.org. And then you go to the where is it? I will put links for these in the description. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is actually it right here. But I want the text version of this. Okay. GNU, LGPL, and other formats open. Alright, there we go. So copy this, Control C. On the desktop, right click, new folder, new file, new text document. Go to the end, delete the entire thing, including the .txt, and then name it license all capitals. Yes. Right click, edit with any node editor, paste it. At the very bottom, there's actually going to be a section on here that's going to tell you exactly what to put into your code and how to format it and set that up, if I can find it. This is the lesser GNU. Where are you? Revised versions. This is lesser, right? GNU lesser gen, yep. So basically, the way that this works is that there needs to be specific lines of code inside, or rather comments at the top of all of your pages of source. It's pretty simple to do. Let me actually see if I have my code, if I have that line of code that needs to be put in there somewhere else. Code, Java. I think it's there. No. Where are you at? I have it all there, so that's not it. I don't know where it went. Anyway, if you go into project or into settings, and you go down to, if you just search for copyright, right here is the copyright. So we don't need that anymore. It'll bring us to here. Underneath of copyright, currently you have none. What you want to do is go to copyright profiles, add the lesser GNU header into here, So basically copy this here. Okay, it's going to create this whole thing. Copyright is the keyword to detect a copyright in the chat. We don't want this, but we do need to find that other part in here. Maybe it's on their website. Let me go check their website again. I know there's... I'm pretty sure this is all that you actually have to include in the text. But no, there was a whole lot more. Something about not profiting. That's the RTF version of it. There's a better one. Ah, here it is. This program is free software. You can redistribute it and modify it in terms, either version 3, this blah blah blah. You should have received a copy of the GNU public license along with this program. If not, see blah blah. Alright, this is what has to be on every page of source. So a copyright permission statement should come right after the copyright notice. Copyright notice is basically set up like this, such as copyright 1999 Terry Jones. Basically this file is part of the foobar. Foobar is a free software. Okay, so this would be an example of another way of doing this, but this is generally what needs to be. Okay, so best way I can explain that is generally best case scenario is come to this website, which is gpl-how-to. Copy this right here. Paste it on the very first line. Copyright and change it to the current year, so 2017 in this case. And then type in your username or your name. So copyright 2017 Phoenix. Oh, my bad. I totally just derped that. Okay, scroll backing up here. Okay, let me just paste this in here real quick. Alright, so copy here. And then underneath of this line, we just hit enter. And then all we have to do at that point is when we come here, copy this and paste it directly below your name. So it would be like, this is going to put stars and stuff all over the place for us, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, just in advance, you guys have put my permission to use and distribute this at your own will. There is going to be no way I'm going to be coming after you for that. This is just for demonstration purposes, showing you how to put a license into your file. This is the last thing we are going to be doing this episode. So anyway, what we're going to do is apply this, and then we're going to go back up to copyright, and then scroll down to GNU Lesser General Public License, select that, and then underneath, basically that's it, actually. We've already selected it. You just hit apply. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can check to validate. It should say velocity template is valid at this point, meaning that all the information to appease a copyright is there and is available. You can also do that if you wanted to. You don't have to, or you can find the copyright symbol and copy that. Technically, the copyright symbol is actually a real thing. 2017 Phoenix. That's basically it. I'm going to put my real name here. But you should always include your real name inside of this. You can include your username, but you should also, if you're going to do your username, also include your real name. Otherwise, in the eyes of court, this doesn't mean shit. So when you validate, it'll say true. Then you go ahead and apply it. Make sure the copyright is selected as general public license. Formatting, use blocks, blah, blah. Okay. Underneath the formatting, I honestly don't like half of the way that it formats, so I just do it like that. I don't need that. I want to do this all before other comments. That way it appears at the very top of the page. Separators, I like the separators, and I usually set them to 100 and 100. Separation, you can choose whatever you want. I'm going to do upper. Okay, so I should probably drop this down to 50 actually. and 50. And then I can do something, pretty much I'm just fooling around at this point. You can literally do like and it'll repeat it 100 times. I can go down to 40 and 40 here. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, just so it's distinguishable. I'm sure that works. Don't need that anymore. Yeah. Now we'll just stick with stars. I am very, very picky about the way things look, and I apologize for that. Oh, God. Okay. Apply. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are actually going to go and delete tutorial mod. Delete. Okay. Right click it, create a new Java class again, and rename it tutorial mod, the same thing. But this time it actually has a copyright posted at the top. This is required to be at the top of every source page. Now it will post it and then immediately minimize it. This has to be there. You cannot get away without having this. So that every time I create a new Java class, it will put a copyright at the top before everything else. So that's the good thing to set up right off the bat at the very top. Now, what do we do with that file right here? Well, first, we come in here and save it. And then we go to our resources and just straight drop it in resources. Okay. Now this is the reason you put it in resources and not the main directory is because resources in Java are packaged into the jar file. This way it will always be distributed with the project. So for instance, if I were to go to over here to here, tasks, and I go to build, and then I run build, it's going to build it out right here underneath the build successful libs right here. Now, a lot of people don't know, but jar files are literally just zip files. So you can rename it to zip and open it. But there's your license right here. It will always be packaged with your mod at that point. And that is the reason why you should go in the resource folder. Don't really need this. That can go away. Don't really want this. That can go away. Go away, build. Thank you. Okay. So that's pretty much all we're going to do today. Well, for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to set up the base default modding class. I know this took an hour. I apologize. There's probably points in this where you can skip and probably will want to skip. But yeah, so 14.1.7 is the version that I'm going to be using to program for Intellij, in case anybody wants to use the same one as me. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much going to be the same. Alright guys, thanks for watching.